Remember when Johnny Depp was the undisputed king of Hollywood? From Captain Jack Sparrow to Edward Scissorhands, he was the quirky, brilliant star everyone wanted to work with. Then, almost overnight, it felt like he became persona non grata. But what did the industry really say behind closed doors as his career seemed to crumble? We're diving deep into the whispers, the shifting loyalties, and the surprisingly outspoken reactions from the very people who once championed him. This is the story of how Hollywood turned its back on one of its own and whether it's ready to welcome him back. For decades, Johnny Depp wasn't just an actor, he was a cultural phenomenon. His unique style and choice of eccentric roles made him a box office titan and a critical darling. He was the rare star who could be both a commercial powerhouse and an indie icon. His name on a poster was a guarantee of a certain kind of magic, a promise of a performance you wouldn't forget. He was at the absolute pinnacle of the industry, a king on his throne. But, as we all know, thrones in Hollywood can be incredibly unstable. The first whispers of trouble were quiet, easily dismissed as tabloid gossip. But, as allegations surfaced, those whispers grew louder. Initial reports began to chip away at the pristine, beloved image of the quirky artist. At first, Hollywood did what it does best in a crisis. It stayed silent. It was an uncomfortable, deafening silence. Publicly, very few people wanted to touch the situation. Behind the scenes, however, conversations were happening. The industry was watching, waiting to see which way the wind would blow. This wasn't just about one actor. It was a test of the industry's values and where its loyalties truly lay. Then came the court cases, and the dam of silence broke. The headlines were relentless, painting a picture that was a far cry from the lovable rogue audiences adored. Public perception shifted dramatically, fueled by a constant stream of courtroom drama. This is when the cold shoulder from the industry became impossible to ignore. Major studios, who had built franchises around him, began to distance themselves. Most notably, Warner Brothers asked him to resign from his role as Gellert Grindelwald in the Fantastic Beasts series, a move that sent shockwaves through the industry. Disney, the studio behind the billion-dollar Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, also appeared to quietly move on from Captain Jack Sparrow. Projects were delayed, roles were recast, and the message was clear. Johnny Depp had become too risky, too controversial for the Hollywood machine. It wasn't just the studios. Many of his former colleagues and industry friends seemed to vanish. The invitations stopped. The public declarations of support were few and far between. In a town built on relationships, Depp found himself increasingly isolated. While some figures like Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz offered statements of support, many A-listers opted to stay out of the fray entirely. This avoidance wasn't always a judgment. For many, it was a career calculation. Taking a side in such a polarized and public battle was a risk few were willing to take. The social landscape of Hollywood was changing, and Depp was caught in the crossfire. We can't talk about this period without mentioning the wider context of the #MeToo movement. The movement had rightfully forced Hollywood to confront its long history of protecting powerful men and silencing victims. The allegations against Depp were examined through this new, critical lens. It amplified the scrutiny on him immensely. The situation created a huge pressure point within the industry. People felt compelled to pick a side, even if they did so silently. Aligning with Depp could be seen as being against the progress of the movement, while publicly condemning him without a legal verdict also felt fraught with peril. This led to what's been called the uncasting phenomenon. Roles he might have been considered for were no longer on the table. His status as a bankable leading man was officially revoked. Yet, while Hollywood seemed to close its doors, another part of the world was opening them. Depp found a surprisingly warm embrace in Europe. He received career honors at film festivals like San Sebastian and Karlovy Vary, generating some controversy, but also demonstrating that his star power hadn't completely faded outside of the United States. He starred in the French film Jean du Barry, which opened the prestigious Cannes Film Festival. This European reception was a crucial lifeline, allowing him to continue working and reminding the world that he was still an actor, not just a headline. It was a sign that his career might not be over, but simply entering a new international chapter. Then came the U.S. trial verdict, and the ground shifted once again. The outcome, which largely favored Depp, sent new ripples through the industry. While it didn't cause an immediate, universal reversal of his canceled status, it did begin to change the conversation. The verdict gave some in Hollywood a reason to reconsider their stance. The black and white narrative began to look a lot more gray. It didn't erase the controversy, but it complicated it, making a full-scale Hollywood comeback seem less impossible than it had just months before. The slow, cautious reevaluation of Johnny Depp had begun. Throughout this entire ordeal, one group remained fiercely and unwavering loyal: his fans. The power of his dedicated fanbase cannot be overstated. They organized online campaigns, dissected trial testimony, and kept his name not just relevant, but at the forefront of social media. This constant, vocal support was a powerful force. It served as a constant reminder to studios and executives that there was still a massive, paying audience eager to see him on screen. In an industry driven by numbers, that kind of dedicated consumer base is impossible to ignore for long. Fan power acted as a counterbalance to the industry's cold shoulder, creating a pathway for his potential return. So, where does that leave us? Hollywood is now navigating a new landscape. One where talent with controversial pasts presents a complex gamble. The Johnny Depp situation has become a precedent, a case study that the industry will look to for years to come when dealing with stars who face public scrutiny. How do you balance public opinion, legal outcomes, and an actor's box office draw? There are no easy answers. The Depp precedent has shown that cancellation isn't always permanent, and that the path to redemption, if it exists, is complicated and rarely straightforward. What's next for Johnny Depp? His return to the director's chair with the upcoming film Modi, backed by Al Pacino, suggests he is carving out a new space for himself, perhaps on the more independent side of the industry. Will we see him captaining another blockbuster franchise? That remains Hollywood's billion-dollar question. The industry's memory is notoriously short, especially when there's money to be made, but the scars from this saga run deep. His potential for a full Hollywood return will depend on the industry's willingness to take a risk and its calculation of whether the public is ready to welcome him back fully. Hollywood rejected him, but now it has to decide if it's ready for his redemption. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into one of Hollywood's most fascinating and complex stories. What do you think is next for Johnny Depp? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoy content that looks behind the curtain of Hollywood, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more. We'll see you in the next one.